Atomic Heart is a game set in communist Russia that takes place in a fictional universe where they have advanced robotics that leads them to be the world's foremost superpower. The world building of the game is fantastic and in my opinion rivals BioShock, which I might do a video on if the idea gets enough traction. The game is decently controversial due to the developers being Russian if I'm not wrong, and it's also controversial because of funny robots, but we're not here to talk about the funny robots. The game drops you in, as a soldier, in a floating city where you wander through various buildings and get briefed on what to do next as a parade to Russia's greatness happens outside. You get given a glove that has a sentient AI inside and has multiple abilities you can get if you upgrade it. For this part of the game being so short, there is incredible detail, and the atmosphere here is amazing. The hustle and bustle of the people around you being mixed in with the sentient robots working perfectly with humanity, the architecture that is clearly inspired by old Russian architecture but also inspired by USSR architecture, and super ornate to show how far they have advanced from being a failing communist empire in reality. You get in a car, and you expect to drive away, but instead the game picks you up, still in the car, and flies the car across the landscape with a drone, giving you a view over the giant mountainscape underneath you with the giant monuments they've constructed to scientists and leaders, and other floating cities off in the distance. The game contrasts the world views on the USSR immediately to show how this is clearly not our world. Then as you fly through the air, the robots start to break, and the research facility you were in begins to be overtaken, and everyone inside is killed other than you. Corridors are covered in gore, buildings are destroyed, statues crumble, the floating structures are sent spiraling towards the ground. This immediately contrasts the setting you just got familiarized with, and begins the main conflict of the game, which is quelling the robot uprising. The game doesn't have as much of a deep thematic meaning, but there is a lot we can learn from the aesthetics and world building if we take a purely visual approach. The color theory used in this game is excellent, with greens being used significantly contributing to the lush environment, contrasting with the harshly colored dungeon and puzzle areas that are underground facilities. Each of them use stark whites or bright colors to indicate what it contains, like the heat division is red. Very simple, but really indicates to the player how they should feel, as all the robots in the scientific facilities are bright white, upgraded versions being dark black. The logging robots are muted colors with greens and grays, and the service robots are sleek glossy white or a shimmering silver. They all convey their purpose at a glance, and you would be able to generally tell their purpose from their design and colors. Going back to the outside environment, all the construction on the ground is very clearly USSR and Russian inspired, which makes it seem more realistic because of how recent the introduction to the modern infrastructure is in the universe. Despite whatever you may think of the game, you have to admit its design is masterclass. Even down to how the weapons are designed, we see obvious inspiration from the USSR, with the PM pistol, AK-47 rifle, and KS-23 shotgun all being used. They're all Soviet bloc-era weaponry, but in-game they've received technological upgrades that fit within the game's upgraded environment. The clothing in the game fits in the exact same way. You could see soldiers wearing the classic Russian outfit. Every single aspect adds up to make a convincing atmosphere that makes you feel very immersed in the robotic future of the USSR, where they have achieved the first successful communist country. Thank you for watching.